BMW 05 plate E46 320D touring water pump removal and refitting. I first noticed the problem was I was getting a squeaky pulley and I didn't know which one it was, so I've waited for a while, and the other day I had a nasty rattling sound when accelerating, and I have now found that if I hold on to the top of the fan and pull it slightly, I don't know if you can see, that shouldn't happen. So that is the water pump way down there in the middle of the engine, so we're going to have to remove all these pipes and let's get going. Right, first step is going to be loosening off the viscous fan. I'm using two 32mm spanners. You are supposed to have a special tool to do this, but I can't quite see the point when you've got the spanners. I have loosened this already, so that comes off easily. Once you've done that, you can just spin it off by hand. And please excuse me, I'm not a professional mechanic. I am making this up pretty much as I go along. Now we've got to take this fan shroud off. And what we do is take the fan blades and the shroud off all in one go. Makes life easier. So I have one spline drive there, which takes off that bolt. Also keep these plastic tubs handy, keep all your bits and pieces in. On this side we have a push clip, panel clip, which pull the centre out, and then the rest of the clip should pop out. There we go. And now we have, probably can't see it where you are, we now have this plug down here, electrical plug with a wire going along the top. So that just pulls out of there. Probably supposed to disconnect it, but I'm going to leave it connected because why not? Makes life more fun then, doesn't it? So I've just tucked it up out of the way. Right, so I'm also just going to, just for space, just unplug or unclip from here these little clips. There we go, gives you plenty of room then. Now we should, if I spin the fan off completely, there it is. The whole thing, with a bit of jiggling, all comes out in one go. Now, like I said, everyone, you'll have to excuse me, I'm not a professional mechanic, making it up as I go along, so probably do steps I shouldn't have to do, but I'm going to do them. Now we've got the fan and everything out the way, remember to take note of how all your belt is routed. I'm going to take this pipe off, your turbo pipe, so let me just do that. Right, now you've got everything out the way, you can have a look at the direction of all your belts. So it's round your power steering pump, down round the idler pulley, then down over your alternator, round over the crankshaft, back over the tensioner, which we'll be playing with next, round your water pump and back to your power steering pump. Always good to remember how it's routed, because otherwise it can be a fiddle trying to figure it out. Now to remove your belt's really quite simple. We have a 24, where is it? There you are, 24mm socket on a big long breaker bar. All you do, put it onto the nut on the tensioner, pull it back, and off comes your belt. And then slowly, gently release. Job done. And there's your belt to one side. Now we can see, oh yes, that's definitely had its day. There is your water pump, and let me put you down there on the tripod, might make it easier to see. Also, if you guys could understand that I'm not a professional photographer either, so that's not meant to do that. So not good. So time that goes. Right, next it's time to remove the thermostat housing. I haven't drained the coolant out, so it will all run out everywhere. It looks like I'm going to have to put this pipe off. And we've got 2 more bolts on the top. Just wipe my hands. I'm going to pull this pipe out of the way as well. Right, now we can reach the bolts on the water pump. In fact, you can see all of the bolts on the thermostat housing now. And this is the one that was in the being blocked by the pipe. All of those out of the way. Now really hopefully I should disconnect all these pipes. Right, I know for you guys that's been literally a split second, but for me that's been about half an hour. I had a bit of a phone call, so anyway, back to it. Right, I have decided in the meantime I think I am going to change the thermostat. So all you do is you pull the hose clips away like that. There you go. Once you've got the hose clips away, the pipes should come apart, but they're not always that easy. Yeah, that's why I didn't want to take them off. I'm just going to put the bolts loosely back into the thermostat housing just to hold it in place. Might make life a little bit easier. There's one of them off. Top one, I need to take that bolt off, that 10mm bolt. Right, to make this pipe easier to move, there's a 10mm bolt just here. So just below the intercooler turbo pipe, which is lucky I took that off. Just I have done a turbo, an EGR delete on this. It should be here. It should have pipes, an EGR cooler that runs along the front of the engine down to the thermostat, which is what this pipe's all about. So that's a step that we can miss. And back here, or bolt, should I say. Now we have that loose, and of course that clip's gone back in. There we go, that one actually comes out quite easily. If I put my wire snip. This won't be needed for normal cases because, as I say, this pipe shouldn't actually be here. Now you can just pop that up there and out the way. And take these bolts back out. here is said thermostat. Now I have always had a problem with this car as it always runs cold. Can't see anything obviously wrong with it, but obviously not working correctly. It is an original BMW part. So we'll change that anyway. May as well while we're here. Now we're down to the water pump. Well, it pumps water, that's a good sign. At least I know it's been circulating water around the engine. It should have been. I've got one of these star drive things. Don't know what they're called, hex drives or star drives, whatever. One there. One down there. Looks like one there. One just there. And I believe that should be all of them. Yet again, got a little tub I'm keeping all my nuts and bolts in, just to keep them all in place in one space. You know where they all are then. I'm actually surprised at how easily that came off. There we go. Job done. Well, job done for removal. And yeah, that's shouldn't make noise like that. Now I need to buy a new one, because apparently for this engine there's two different types. So I'll have to take this into the store to get the correct one. So I will be back with you when I have the new parts. Right, here we are back again. Got the parts now. A water pump just here. Which is part number FEB32425, and it's the one for a viscous coupling fan. That was about £147, and then we have a thermostat kit, just a thermostat basically with housing, and that was £50, so not cheap. Part number for your thermostat is BBT144. So now it's just time to get it all fitted. Right, now with the fitting for the thermostat, sorry, the water pump. Get this pipe out of the way again. We have this metal gasket which is on the car, and it's got a little tab. Oh, finger out the way. A little tab down in the bottom there. I don't know if you can see it, which is holding it in place. And there's another one tucked away somewhere in the top up there. Now I'm not going to reuse that gasket, so I'm going to have to cut those tabs and get it out of the way. We did get a new gasket finger in the way again. We did get a gasket with the pump. So before I take that metal one off, I am just going to check that this one actually does fit. Always a good idea before I ruin the car. She's slightly bent, but I don't think that matters. There's no creases in it. And it goes that way round. Nope, doesn't go that way. Yep, that should fit a glove. Like a glove. So we go snipping this off. There's the bottom one. Ooh, we've got another one up here. Can we just break them off? There we go. You see, it was held on by a little tab there. There's a little tab there, and well, it's all bent out of shape now, but a little tab just there where my fingernail is. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. Not sure why BMW thought that was a clever idea, but there we go. Now let's clean this area up as best I can. Alright, so just feeling around the surface just to make sure it's all nice and smooth. Which feels okay. I wouldn't say perfect, but I don't want to go scratching around with anything just in case I damage it and cause myself more problems. So it's looking clean enough for the minute. Right, for putting this water pump on, it should just get your gasket, put it on and put the water pump on top, and that should be good enough. But I don't like trusting these things. They always tend to leak once you put it back together, and then you have to take it all back apart again. So I'm going to use, oh there we go, I'm going to use some of this. It's a gasket that doesn't, as it says there, oh, get it in camera shot, Paul. As it says there, it's non-hardening, so it stays liquid. And all you do, just a thin smear of it all over. If I can get it out the tubes, there's not much left. It's very sticky, gloopy stuff. So then I'll just smear it all over. So there we are, I've now smeared a load of that stuff on. It's only very thin, but it's a tried and tested method I've used on loads of occasions, and it just helps it seal, that's all. Can't do it any harm. So, also helps hold your gasket in place. As he says that shows how thin it is, it's not holding it in place. Let's do it this way. I'm not doing these uptight, they're literally just help holding it in place. Make sure they all go in, there you go. See, the pump's still loose. Now we've got them all in, start by just nip them up with finger tight. There we go. There we go, so they're all now hand tight. There we go, so the pump is now in place and no more clickety clacking from the pulley. So we now have a socket. Just do them up little bit by little bit, just to help it seat properly. And then start doing them crisscross. And like I stated in the first part of this video, I'm not a professional, kind of making it up as I go along. they're all done up. Let's have a look. Right, I've just been looking and I can't find the socket that will fit my torque wrench, so it's just going to have to be nipped up for the minute. I know this isn't how you're supposed to do it, but that's the way it's going to go. So that'll do. Bottom bolt. See, not putting a huge amount of pressure on them, just making sure they're nice and snug. I think that'll do. So there you go. So that is the water pump back in place. Looks good to me. So all I can do is wait and hope. Now the thermostat has a nice, yet again not in camera, Paul. The thermostat has a nice rubber seal all around it. So that I am just going to put on dry. So turn it around, line it up. That looks about right. Same again, get the bolts started finger by fingers. Make sure they're not cross-threaded, because these strip the threads out quite easily otherwise. And this is why you leave it loose. There you go. Make sure you can get it in the right place and get your bolts in and started. If you do them all up tight, and then the last one you'll find you can't do up. And again, should be torquing these up, but not going to. Because this is my own private car, so it's not a customer's vehicle or something like that. Plus it is an old engine, it is on 230,000 miles now. So I will take the risk myself. But this is just a helpful video just in case someone else needs to do this job. And obviously you don't want to do these up too tight because it is a plastic housing. And it did cost 50 quid, so I would really rather not break it. same again, just feel it as you're nipping them up. You'll know if they're nice and tight, which they all feel good to me. Everything is all nice and solid, so that should do. Right, let's try and put this turbo pipe on. It's a fiddly little thing, so, well, not so little, but it's fiddly. For that reason, I think that needs replacing. Right, so that's, we're missing a pipe. There we go. There it is, all back in place. That's a fiddly thing to do, that, because it's all tucked in nice and tight. There's probably an easier way of doing it, but like I said, I don't know what I'm doing. Make it up as you go. There we go. Let's clip these pipes back in. Keep them neat and tidy. Right, now we're at the stage of connecting water hoses, so make sure these are nice and clean. The trouble with BMWs is these have rubber O-rings sealing them. They can be a pain. Hoping they won't be, but we shall see. So, get it all in place. Oh, that's a nice one to have gone on. Yeah, I'm going to have to take the bloody thermostat off again. Okay, so I'm going to have to take the thermostat housing off again because now I'm dropping tools everywhere. Well, I don't actually know where that went. Right. Doing well now. Okay. See if we can do this with this pipe in the way. Well, it appears we can, just. And these are those silly little sockets with the star sort of shape, which are a bit of a pain, but they work. I'm sure there's plenty of you out there who've done this job before that are looking and thinking, yeah, I knew that was going to happen. There we go. So I didn't have to take it all the way off, just loosen it. And there is a rubber O-ring in the housing, I have checked that already. I need a wobble thingy for that. Let me see if I've got one. As luck would have it, I have a wobbly end. That's what she said. That makes life a bit easier, a little bit. Right. There we go again. So, push that in nice and tight, there we go. And click it in place. And that should be good on that one. Just a couple of 10mm bolts to do up here. Lunges there. Same as before, before you do it up tight, get it in place. There you go. that's that done. Right, now we have this bottom hose to do. Now that's an old O-ring in there. This one comes with a new O-ring in the housing. But on this bottom hose, it's the O-ring's in the hose. So really I should be replacing the hose. But I'm not going to go through doing that. It's already cost me near on 200 quid doing this as it is. So cut corners where I can. If it works, that'll do. Now I have considered just reusing the old O-ring. I don't think I'm going to do that, so let's just see if I can get it out without damaging it. Right, so that's the O-ring that was in it, which actually doesn't look too bad. So if we don't have one that fits, we'll reuse it. Oh, it's looking slightly too big. Yep, I think this is a BMW thing. That looks slightly smaller. Oh, way too small. Right, none of those look like they're going to fit. So I think it's going to be a cheating job again. So make sure it's all clean in here. That's looking clean. Oops. Sorry, did I nearly trip you lot up? What I have got is some, probably, well, it's definitely not recommended, it's some instant gasket, and it says it's resistant to high temperature, water and fluids and all the rest of it, antifreeze as well. So I'm just going to put a smear of this on and hope it works. If it doesn't, worst comes to the worst, I'll just have to get a proper gasket for it, proper O-ring. But hopefully the cheat will work. It has done before, so fingers crossed. So what I'm going to do is put a smear in there. It'll come out. There we go. Well, that worked well, didn't it? Typical, it's going to rain, isn't it? Always the way. cover my phone. Hopefully you're still recording. Should do. It's only a smear, a thin smear, so it shouldn't go squashing out and blocking everything up. It's literally there just to take up any rough spaces that might be on that O-ring, which I don't think there are, but we'll see. So there it is, just a thin smear on the inside with the O-ring in place. And now it's time to try and get it to seat. Not always the easiest of jobs, but if it's tight, it's got to be good. Oh, there we go. Give it a jiggle, just make sure it's seated. Now this one. Always find these belts are a pain in the butt. Get the brake bar ready. Right, so it's on the power steering pump, goes round, it's on that one, it's on the alternator, it's on the crankshaft, it's on the water pump. It should be all good. I have checked all these pulleys for play and they all seem pretty damn good. Power steering pump looks like it might have very slight play, but it's not leaking as yet and it's not making a noise, so I'm happy with that as it is. So that's largely complete. Just a couple of bits left to do. Let me just do a tidy up. Right, just a quick tidy up, nothing special. Time to put on the intercooler pipe, put that back. Yeah, make sure I get the Jubilee clip the right way. That's it, goes that way up. There we go. That's where it was. and of course there's the wrong socket here. Must be that one. Yes. Make sure these are reasonably tight because this does take some pressure, this pipe. Just clip that back. And that's that secure. We're nearly finished. Now we need to put the fan housing and fan back in place. So make sure you get it the right way around. Hold your fan in place, make sure that's the right way. Oh, make sure your wire's out the way. And carefully jiggle everything back and let go of the fan. Now we're in place. Seat it in the bottom is easy, not the easiest thing to do. You can tell if you put it right because the two bolt holes at the top will line up if you are. Oh, there we go, there's that side. Yeah, so that side's in, so I'll just put that there gently. That's, let's get a torch. Right, now let's see if we can get this fan on. And there we go. And just spin it into place. There we go. Now I should have special tools. This is a different pump to the one that was on there. So just going to have to nip it up gently. Now when the engine spins, that should tighten itself up. With the direction the engine spins, it won't undo, it'll just do up. Right, so that's pretty much all finished. I have this plug down here which needs plugging back in. I'm afraid it's all handheld video now because my tripod's just given up the ghost, so that'll be going in the bin. So let's just clip that back together and pop it back in there. Now it's just a case of topping up with water and antifreeze. Obviously to just clip these wires back in. That's all that done. Now, rather than do this one-handed, I'll be back with you in a minute. Now, I've just topped that up a little bit over because obviously it's going to go down. This is how you measure it, and when that pops up it's full. And you've also got this bleed nipple here which is going to need undoing. So I should have a flat-headed screwdriver or something, but a pair of pliers do the job. You just loosen it off and we should be at starting the engine time. So let me just go and do that. Right, so you can see its mileage, 228,000. Starts on the button first time, every time. No fan squeaks, fan blade is spinning happily. Everything sounds good. So no circulation at the moment, but obviously I need to wait for the thermostat to open. So I shall come back to you when things start to happen. Right, just a rundown. You can see I've done 40 odd miles since doing the work on the car. Temperature is bang on in the middle, which is where it should be. The water level would normally give a warning here if it was low, and there's nothing, so that's all good. I can't actually take the top off till tomorrow when it's cold, which I will do. Under here everything seems good. Fan is still going strong, not come off. Pulleys all seem fine, belt's fine. No leaks down there as far as I can see. Everything looks good. I mean, there's no steam or anything coming up, so that's got to be a good sign. So everything seems fine. Looks like that was a good job. The fan slow down a bit, there he goes. Yep, you see the fan's still connected perfectly well, all the pulleys are lined up, and as I say, there's no sign of steam or water dripping or anything from that. So yeah, when I first did the job, for the first, I would say probably 10-20 minutes, the fan belt, or the auxiliary belt, was still squeaking quite badly. But that seems to have quietened down, so I'm thinking that was more just the fact that I'd been handling it with dirty oily hands, so I'm guessing it was still had oily marks and stuff all over it. I should have renewed the belt really, but to be fair, that's not an old belt. That's only it's probably not even got 1,000 miles on it, to be honest. I'll see how it goes. If it keeps squeaking, then I will get a new belt for it. And I do believe that the tensioner down there, can't really see it, it's in a dark place. No, I can't. Oh, there it is, down there, the one with the bolt on, big bolt. That tensioner, the spring pack for that is at the back of the engine, down, tucked in there somewhere. So it's a nightmare to get to. But I think that spring has got a bit old and maybe a bit weak. So there's a possibility I might have to replace that. But I'll see how the squeaking goes. As I say, at the moment it seems to have stopped. So I'm willing to just leave it as is until it becomes a problem again. Right, quick video. Hopefully the wind isn't too bad. I know the audio's not been brilliant on this video, but it's cold, being next morning. As far as we can see, there's no leaks down there. I can't see anything, so it's all looking good. And let's check the coolant, and coolant is still where it should be. And you can tell because this thing floats. When it runs low, it sinks down, and that's what switches your light on the dashboard. So I think that's a job done. Still have a squeaky belt from time to time, so be looking at that in the future. So maybe do a video on that as well. So thank you for watching. I really hope this has helped somebody, this video. Yes, hope you enjoyed.